In one of my previous videos, I had to rebuild the entire front end of the coolant system, including resealing the water pump, the thermostat, housing, and all the associated bits and pieces to do with that. Then I was going to flush the coolant system and retop the coolant. However, that didn't happen because that radiator has got a hole in it. This here is the replacement, a Pro Limit Aluminium Radiator off eBay, 128 quid, imported from France. Same width, it's obviously deeper, probably going to need to modify the brackets. Everything's on the same side, and the two little feet, they seem to line up, so hopefully that should fit. Yep, so that side they used a 10mm bolt. It's sheared, but it doesn't matter, we could obviously just get a 10mm bolt. This side, it's a screw and it's rounded and it's stuck. So tried drilling that out, wasn't having it, so what I've had to do was Dremel a slot across it, and now I can get the flat blade in it. So what I want to do now is flush out the coolant that is in the engine block and also in the heater core, because I've already took the radiator out and I'm going to replace that anyway. So what I'll do is I'm going to put the hose pipe in here and I'm going to run it through there, and it's going to go through the block and it's going to come out there, and then it's going to come out there. The only problem I've got is the thermostat is in there, and to take the thermostat out you've got to re-RTV everything there, so you can't get a free flow unless the thermostat is open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to top this up until the top half is full. Then I'm going to start the cart and I run it until the thermostat opens, turn the car off, and then whilst I've got a window while the thermostat is open, I'm going to flush the system out. So as you can tell from that little fountain going on there, that is obviously full up in there. Yep, nice. So now I'm going to run the car up the temperature, and then the thermostat should open. I'll know the thermostat's open because it should come out down there, although subby's coming out down there anyway. And then I'm going to put the hose in here and I'm going to run it and flush it. Well, water pump's working. So the reason that's that colour is I've already flushed it with some coolant flush and it's still in the system, because when you drain the radiator it comes out the radiator but it doesn't come out of the block very well. So the next question, is this safe to do without overheating the car? Well, yes, at the moment, because this is the amount of coolant you would have in the block whilst you're warming the car up for the thermostat to open up anyway. Obviously when the thermostat opens it's going to do a circuit through the radiator to cool it. We're going to turn it off before that happens, so it's all good. So this is only lukewarm at the moment. Yeah, that's not exactly that warm. Engine's cool there and nothing's coming out down the bottom yet, which means the thermostat hasn't opened yet and we're not at the temperature yet. So you see this is coming back here. What will normally happen, that will go into the radiator and then it will come out this side of the radiator and go into the expansion tank. And then when the car gets up to temperature, what it will do then is that will open with the thermostat and it will suck it back in, and then it will suck it out of the expansion tank through the radiator. But because my radiator's got a hole in it, what's happening is it's sucking in air, and then air is oxidating, and that's why I've got rusty coolant. So basically the thermostat has opened up now because we've got the hose pipe on, nothing's coming out there. And yep, it's all coming, well alright, it's coming out there now, but it's coming out there. So what's happened is I believe the thermostat's probably closed a bit because I've turned the engine off. So that is running a lot clearer now, although you can only put a very little bit through with the hose pipe and then it starts spraying out of there, and then you have to leave it a while, let it all digest I suppose, pour out and then have another go. So fan shroud lines up like so. Got myself some new nuts for it. Potentially, because this one only fixes at the top, I could put the rad in and then put that in afterwards, which will make putting the rad in easier if it works. So first thing to take note, on the OEM radiator, that comes straight down, that one goes off at an angle, and the reason that one goes off is at an angle is so you can get the radiator past these. So basically to get this in, you've got to come in like that, twist the fan round, and this bit's going to be right up here. You have to take that out and you have to drop it right down there, get the radiator down, and then whilst the radiator's nearly down, you've got to pull this back up so you can get the radiator down on the floor. The radiator here is obviously a bit deeper, so it's kind of interfering with that, but it's still all right. I'm probably going to have to do something bracket wise, and I'm probably going to have to adjust that, but we're going to put these back in so that that's fixed. So fan shroud is back on. The only way you can get that on is with the radiator in first and then down, so it's a good job that you can do that, because you've got no way getting them in as a pair. Obviously, because it's only got a bolt here and a bolt here, it can slide straight down. It does sit a little bit out there and pulls in a bit at the sides, but I can spin the fan freely, which is good. So this is a stock rad bracket, and it's not wide enough, but also it's sitting up there about, what, 30 mil. So what we need to do is see whether that's going to come down. Well, the hood bonnet closes, which is a relief, but that does mean that I'm going to have to fabricate some brackets for there and there. Stop that doing that, although when I put that in, it's going to obviously hold it in place, but we'll need brackets. So the one thing I thought I was going to have to modify on this Pro Limit aluminium radiator would be this pipe here, but wow, it fits straight on. Obviously, because you've got a little bit of manoeuvrability here, but that metal's still up to there, so there's plenty to clamp onto. This is on fully as well, so there's plenty to clamp on there, because that comes out to about there, so that fits direct fit. So that's the top part of the rad installed. I've put that back on as well, and the boost hose is back on. It doesn't really move anyway, apart from a little bit there, but obviously I'm going to make some brackets for that. Got to go down underneath now, reconnect the hose there, and then I'm going to fill it up with some distilled water first, run it, make sure it doesn't leak, and also to flush it out again, and then if all's good, we're going to fill it up with coolant. So topped up with distilled water, filled it up to, it didn't go down anymore. Then I've started the car, I'm going to run it up to temperature. When the thermostat opens, that will drop down. I will top up with some more of that until it doesn't drop down anymore. Also got the heating on full whack, so it's going to circulate around the heater core as well. So nothing leaking under here other than what we already drained out earlier and missed the container. And if we go up here, see a few little bubbles, that's the air coming out of the system. Yeah, so just get a few revs, get a bit of more air out. So this pipe warm, this side the radiator is warm, this side not warm yet, which basically means the bottom pipe is still cool, not going to touch that, because the fan's down there, which means the thermostat, which is in the lower hose, has not opened up just yet, which is why that is still there. However, it's not turning yellow, orange, which means that flushing out the block earlier has kind of worked. So that's going down, which means the thermostat is starting to open and suck in the remaining distilled water, which is going to cool coolant. When that goes down, we'll top it up a bit and basically keep topping up so it doesn't get down anymore and there's no more bubbles. So it turned out with the funnel I was using, I was having a little bit of a problem. I got a leak coming down there, and what it was is there's a little hole there what drains out to the expansion tank. What was happening was the funnel wasn't blocking that, so basically when I was filling the funnel up, I was also filling up the expansion tank, and what was happening then is it's coming out the overflow of the expansion tank. So I've been on eBay and I got one of these no spill funnels. So it's got this little adapter which basically covers that up. There's various adapters, as you can see in here, and we're burping the system again with that funnel. Now it's time to make some brackets to go here to hold the radiator in. No, I'm not making them out of paper. This is a template. We're going to make these out of aluminium, so we're going to go down about there then. Probably a bit too tall. About there. So that's about on the money. And obviously the hole's going to be there. We don't really want to come too far in. So maybe about there. So you go that. You take that off there. So that there is going to be the bracket. Radiator is not going anywhere now. So I've unfolded it and I've drawn some lines on the folds and just some arrows for the directions of the folds. Going to cut that out of aluminium and bend it up. So transferred that onto the aluminium with some tape. I'm not going to lie to you, I had to do some adjustment and put a little slope on this bit here because this kind of is at a different angle to that. But that fits, obviously got to drill the hole. I'm going to replicate one for this side, however the problem I have is this chunk is bigger here and that means it can't go over the hole. But I've got a solution for that, so I'm going to make another one of these and then I'll show you that. So there you go, similar in shape and size. The only thing what is stopping this one covering this hole is going past there, and really it's just that little bit there. So all that means is I need to take out a bit at the back here so that it'll slide over. And this one here, I could do a little bit on the back of this one too, but not quite as much. So this one will slide over so it'll be slightly more central on that hole. So this will cover a little bit of this and most of that. This will cover a bit more of that and about half of that. So there they are. Now this one here now covers that hole. What I did is took that out back there so I can go right over. This one here took a little bit out of the back, so that's about central on the hole there, just on the weld line there, so it looks quite good. So that hole there from the back there is between 10 and 15 mil, call it about 12 mil. So off the back of there, going to draw a line 12 mil across here, drill the hole in the middle of that. So both brackets now bolted in and position. I did have to elongate that hole because I did drill it slightly in the wrong place and it was pushing it back, but it is in. And just for shits and giggles, here's one which I bent the wrong way in the bender and I tried to straighten it, and that is why you should never get your alloy wheels straightened, and you should buy new ones if you bend them. Distilled water is in the car, the bumper is back on properly. I've cut some bits out there to make it actually fit around the intercooler, and it is now bolted up on both sides. A little bit of trouble with refilling the coolant, well, distilled water, because once the thermostat had opened, some of that flush what I'd used, that coolant flush, was kind of foaming up and coming up through the funnel, and it was also bringing up some browny orange crap. Initially I thought it might be an egg gasket and it was oil, but then I put some oil and some water in there to compare it, and basically when it settles this kind of goes greeny, and that sort of, when it settles, just sort of turned into some kind of orangey yellow water. So I'm pretty sure it's not oil. What I think it is when the thermostat opens up, the flush which is trapped in the block, because it's these like several flushes to get it out, it's bringing up just a little bit of crap up into the funnel. So I flushed it out again, and this time it was bringing up considerably less, still a little bit, but considerably less. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the car with distilled water for a while, drop that out, and then see if I need to put some more distilled water in, do another flush, or whether I can fill it up with coolant. But for now, that is the car with the new radiator fixed. Thank you for watching.